Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is previewing the Premier League season coming up, and we're going to be predicting who's going to finish where this season. So we'll be working our way up from the bottom three up to the top four, predicting how it's going to go. We're also going to throw in at the end who I think is going to win Player of the Year, who's going to win the Golden Boot, and who's going to get the most amount of assists this season. So yeah, we're going to get into it, and let's see what I think is going to happen this year. Right then guys, as we can see here, we've got our Premier League tier list. So as you can see by the columns, we've got relegation, bottom half, mid-table, Europa League, Champions League qualification maybes, Champions League qualification, and then finally we've got who I think will finish top of the table. I've also got transfer marks open as I'm going to try and justify some of my selections. Some of them you might think are controversial, maybe not. But yeah, I'm going to have this open just to show an overview of the squads, what business they've done this summer and stuff like that. Just to have a chat about the teams really and go through why I think they're going to finish there and justify my cause. So we'll get started then. We're going to do it in order. We're going to go from 20 upwards. I think that makes sense really, rather than doing it any other way. But yeah, we're going to start with last place this year, and to be honest, you're looking, the three that came up, you've got Forest, Bournemouth, and you've got, the other one's totally slipped my mind. Bournemouth, Forest, and Fulham. So I think two of them are going to be in that relegation three. I couldn't really decide. I've been thinking all three at stages, but one of them's done a bit of business recently, and we'll go into that in a minute. But for 20th place, I think Bournemouth are in a bit of trouble. So we're going to stick them in there, 20th place. And like I said, I'm going to justify my answer really. Let's have a look into the Bournemouth squad, see what they've done this summer. If it loads. So yeah, looking at it there, goalkeepers. There isn't a great deal of Premier League experience when I have a flick through this squad, if I'm honest. You got Ryan Fredericks, Jefferson Lerma. They shout out as Premier League names, but other than that, you're looking through and nothing really screams to me Premier League proven experience. Don't get me wrong, I know that's not always the key to staying up, but I think it would have helped the cause this time around. Obviously, it's a bit of a yo-yo season for them. They were down last year, came straight back up, but for me, there's just not enough in there to keep them up. I don't think this forward line's going to get you enough goals to stay in the Premier League. It's unfortunate because I do like Bournemouth, decent little club. They're not huge, they know that. But yeah, I just don't think they've got enough this season to stay up squad-wise. I don't think they've invested enough. Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's that much money there within the club to do so. As you see here, they brought in Tavernier recently. Decent signing, but again, I just don't think they've bought in enough to stay up for my likes. And I think 20th is where they're going to finish. Next up, 19th. I did mention one of the other two to three teams that came up are going to be in there. I'll let you have a quick guess and who you think I'm going to say. Fulham or Forest. I'm going to go with Fulham for 19th. For me, again, it's another one of them where I just don't feel like they've invested quite enough in the right areas. Fulham have brought in a few decent players, probably invested a bit wiser than Bournemouth have in my eyes. They've got a bit more money, if I'm honest. As you can see there, there's quite a lot of youth in there. They brought in Mbabu, decent little signing, and Palhinha, another decent little signing. Pereira. But yeah, for me, losing Fabio Carvalho was massive for Fulham. He's a really big player. Last season, he dragged them up really. Him and Mitrovic really did contribute last year, along with Harry Wilson. Yeah, you can see they have made a few little decent signings, but Mana Solomon there, and Palhinha, and Pereira. But for me, I just feel like they're not going to be good enough to stay up. I think they'll give a good go of it. They usually do, Fulham, but yeah, for me, not enough really to keep them up that. Yeah, but it's a tough one because I do think if they get firing, they could stay up, but got to get this man firing, Mitrovic. If he doesn't, then you're going down, unfortunately, because he will keep you up. If you can get 20 goals out of him, maybe not even that, maybe 10, 15, could be enough to keep you up, but not for me. He doesn't do it in the Premier League, unfortunately, and I think Fulham, they're probably on the way down, to be honest. For next club I'm saying to go down, it's a tough one, but as you've probably gathered from what I was saying earlier, I think Forest are going to stay up this year. I think they've done enough, really, to stay up. So, the club I'm going to go for going down as the third club, I think Southampton are in a bit of trouble this year. I think they've been flirting with it for a few years now, and they've always seem to dig themselves out. They have a good little run here and there, but for me, not for me this year. I feel like they're going to go down. Again, it's another one where you're saying, have they done enough investment wise? Bought in Gavin Bazunu, he'll start in goal, as you'd imagine. What else have they done really? Sekumara, not a bad player, won't set the world on fire though, I don't think. Invested quite a lot in youth. Aribo, Lavia. They have made some clever little signings, but yeah, for me, nothing really standing out there as that's going to keep you in the Premier League. I feel like a massive investment's going to have to go in, and they're relying on this man here, the captain, Ward-Prowse. If he gets injured or anything like that, they're probably going to struggle with depth-wise, Southampton, and I feel like that's where I worry for them, really. Yeah, for me, I think Forest are just going to be that a little bit better than them this year, and for me, I'm going Southampton as that third team to get relegated. So 17th, as I've just alluded to there, I do think they're going to survive, but I think it'll only be just. For me, Forest's 17th place this season. I'll go over their squad quickly. Nottingham Forest, there we go. For me, made some clever little signings, Forest. They have threw quite a bit of money at it this year, which is pretty wise. I think you've got to coming up this nowadays. I think you can't just rely on what you had in the Championship and hope you're going to stay up, because other teams, they will throw money at it. They will improve quality areas, and yeah, I think Forest have done quite well, to be fair, in what they've brought in. I'll have a look at all the rivals, because I don't think that doesn't look like everything they've done. There we go. So that's all the arrivals. As you can see, they brought in quite a lot, really. We'll go over them one by one. Tao Awanaya from Berlin had a brilliant season last year in the Bundesliga. I think it's a really smart addition, that. I think, they need something up front wise to get them going, get them goals. I think he could do the job. I think it was something like 18 goal contributions in Bundesliga, which is some going really for a club like Union Berlin he played for. They brought in Nico Williams, good little youth player from Liverpool. I think he's been given a good chance there to show what he's about, get down a Premier League proven spot, see what he can do. Mangala, decent little signing again. They obviously believe in him, brought him in. Niakate, good little player. Omar Richards, Toffolo, big signing. Lingard, they spent quite a lot of money on him, but we've seen what he can do at West Ham. If you give him a run of games, he can really contribute in the Premier League, and I think he could do that again for Forest this year. Dean Henderson, good little loan signing there. They had to replace Bryce Samba, he's obviously left the club. But yeah, I think they've invested wisely, Forest, and yeah, I think they've got enough there to stay up. I think they're going to just about do it if they do. But yeah, I think this man might get them the goals and to maybe get them sniffing them out of relegation fight. I think they will survive, and I think they'll survive over Southampton, like I've said there. Next up, a club I'm going to go with in 16th position, I'm going to go with Leeds. Leeds, they flirted with it a lot last year. Very early did go down. I think if it wasn't for Burnley falling away at the end, Leeds would have been the team to go. Obviously Everton were there or thereabouts, but yeah, for me, Leeds last year, they was really in a lot of trouble. Defensively, they just weren't good enough. They've made some adjustments this year. They brought in some decent little players. We'll go over them now. Brandon Aronson, good one there that jumps out, and Sinistera. Yeah, they've had to make a lot of additions because they did so poorly last year. Brandon Aronson there, Sinistero, Tyler Adams, Christensen, Rocker, all good little players from what they've already got. Hopefully that could be the key in keeping them up this year. I do think they're going to struggle a little bit though, just because of what they've lost. If we go over the departures, that for me is going to be the reason they don't finish further up the table, and we'll get them up now. It's the departures. Two big ones stand out there straight away. They've lost Rafinha to Barcelona, which is massive. He was huge last year, and keeping them up really. And and Calvin Phillips, obviously the Yorkshire linchpin. He was huge and all. He always is for Leeds. But losing both of them probably was inevitable because of where they finished last year. But I think it's big losses for Leeds, and for me, I can't see them getting any higher than 16th. But I like the manager. I don't mind him. For me, he brings a little bit of freshness from Bielsa last year. I think he had to go really. I know it's sad. He brought exciting football at times, but they were just reckless. Just leaving themselves so open at the back, and the defensive record was absolutely shocking. And if they were going to go any more like that, they were inevitably going to go down. So unfortunately, Bielsa did bite the bullet. But yeah, this guy seems to be a bit more solid in his structure. And I think with what they brought in, they might stay up. And I fancy them to finish 16th. And I think they'll get the points to do it. Next up, 15th spot. I think I'm going to go with Brentford. Again, good season last year. Don't want to move Bournemouth there. Brentford, there we go. Brentford, decent season last year. First one back in the Premier League for quite some time, really. And they have lost a couple of players. I'm thinking the likes of Eriksen, players like that. Sorry, hold me a second, just get Brentford up here. Right, there's the additions. So let's have a look at what they've lost first. They've lost Christian Eriksen and Marcus Fors, two decent players. And Eriksen obviously only came in halfway through the season, but he was huge. I thought it's a real shame that they are losing him, because I thought he brought a massive deal to the squad. Made them look a lot more stable in that midfield, and they look really strong with him in there. Obviously he's signed for Man United now, but I think it's a big loss that, even though he was only there for a short amount of time, he did bring a lot to that Brentford midfield. But they have invested, as we can see here. They spent £17 million on Keane Lewis-Potter. Decent little player. Obviously a big step up joining a Premier League side, but obviously Thomas Frank believes in him, so we'll see how he gets on. All you can do is give him a chance. Next up there, Haron Hickey. I think he's been a bit of a revelation really for Scottish football, and he's gone over to Bologna and he's absolutely smashed it over there in Serie A. Thomas Frank obviously likes what he sees, and he's brought him in. Give him a chance. Strakosha there, decent little goalkeeper bringing in. Just strengthen depth really for what they had last year. They've not lost a great amount of players, and so just build on what you've got. Ben Mee, good solid little backup. Championship, obviously went down to the Championship with Burnley, should I say. They brought him in. Good little squad player. Mads Bistrup again, good little addition. I think they've strengthened quite well there. From what they've already got, they haven't lost too much. So for me, 15th, for Brentford this year. Next up, I'm going to go with. Tough one this. See, I'm just doing this on the fly. I'm not actually going over and researching. I'm not nailed on who I'm picking. I'm gonna go with Brighton. I know they finished 9th last year, but I sort of think it was a little bit of a freak season. They have got an amazing manager there who I think he's one of them where he's just gonna make his teams play within the means. But for me, they could get found out a bit. It's one of them where I think Brentford might struggle for that a bit this year as well. Where that second season where teams just find you out a little bit more. They know how you're playing, they know how you're going to set up, nothing's going to be a shock. They're well prepared for it, and I think Brighton might struggle for a bit of that. They've lost Basuma, massive loss that. Bit of a shame that he has had to move on. They got a decent little sum for him there, 26 million. But to me, you could have got more. You could have looking at 35 for him easily. They haven't lost a massive amount of players, which is a good thing. They brought in a couple of players there, Julio Enciso, Simon Adingra. So yeah, they've strengthened depth a bit. But what isn't obviously being put on here is the inevitable factor that I think they're going to lose Cucurella. Whether or not it goes to City or Chelsea, we'll see. But yeah, I think Cucurella going is a big loss for Brighton. But yeah, they've not lost a great amount of players, but they've not brought in a great deal either. So I think they might sort of get found out a bit. And for me, not having Basuma in there is big. And I think they're going to have a bit of a worse season than last year. So I'm going looking at about 13 for Brighton, this year. 14th, sorry. Next up, got 13th spot, and for 13th, I'm gonna go with Everton. I think Lampard's come in. He's sort of been given a big stumbling block in the fact they've lost Richarlison. He was a big talisman for them. Obviously, a massive fan favourite. I couldn't get words out there. Big fan favourite was Richarlison. As you see there, £52 million they got for him. They'll be sad to see him go, I think. Did bring a lot to them. But yeah, they've brought in that, but they've not spent a great deal if you look at it. Well, I know they brought in Dwight McNeil, that's about 20 odd million maybe. It doesn't say there how much. But I don't think they spent a great deal. Why that is, I couldn't tell you. I think you'd be looking at having to spend a bit more. I'm clicking on all arrivals there. There's nothing else coming up. Yeah, Dwight McNeil's come in and Tarkovsky. They've had to strengthen in defence. I think Frank wants to play back three, so they've done that. Brought in Vinagre at left back there. Good little player. Hopefully he'll bring a little bit to them. McNeil, solid signing. I think they need a bit more though from what they had last year. Unless he's going to get some sort of miracles out of them, I can't see them finishing much higher than they did. I think they will finish that a little bit higher. I think they'll be a bit better. Players like Dele Alli settle in. Allen's there. He'll hopefully have a better year than he did last year. But yeah, I think there is a bit of quality there, and I think that'll get them a little bit higher than it did last year. Anthony Gordon's obviously come on a lot. Damari Gray's still young, come on quite a bit. Yeah, I think a little bit higher than last year Everton, but only 13th for me in my eyes. Next up, we're going with 12th spot, and for me, I'm going to go with Wolves. Wolves, very, very strange season last year. They started off really well, and the defence was unbelievable for quite a large part of the season. They were conceding they had this Jose Sarr guy was up there with the Golden Glove, competing for the Golden Glove against Edison and Alisson. I thought, how on earth are they doing it? They're not an amazing side. If you go through the squad there, you just sort of played within the means really. They were sort of getting quite a few 1-0 wins and stuff like that. It was pretty crazy. They've got rid of quite a few players from what I'm looking at here. Saiss has gone to Besiktas. Vinagre, as I said, he's gone to Everton on loan from Sporting. Fabio Silva gone out on loan. He needs that move, I think. He's been dubbed as a really massive wonder kid, and I think he needs that move to sort of see what he's all about, really. But yeah, Bruno Lage for me. He's brought in a couple of players there, as you can see. A lot of them quite young. Hwang, decent player. Had a good little season last year. Chipped in with a couple of goals. Kiana Hova, hopefully he'll have a good year. Nathan Collins, they brought him in from Burnley. I think quite a little bit of depth more than what they had. So yeah, they might. Yeah, I think this is about their level though, to be honest. I can't see them jumping through any hoops. I think they're probably going to have a bit of a similar season to what they did last year, where they sort of stagnate. Might start well and stagnate, or start slow then build. Could be either way, but yeah, for me, about 12 for Wolves this year. They need to go there, I've just realised. Next up, I'm going to go with Crystal Palace. I think it's just a bit of a logical one, really. These are a lot are going to be higher than these lot, basically. Crystal Palace, let's see what they've done last year. There is method to the madness. I just have to sort of justify get them on. Come on. Right, here we go, Crystal Palace. So what we can see, they brought in Sam Johnston, decent little backup goalkeeper. The three there, I think you're looking at between Keita and Johnston as views the starting goal. Keita's a decent little goalkeeper, but you know, Sam Johnston was on the fringes of the England squad, so he's probably going to expect to start. Keita, I didn't realise he was that old, so he may sort of take a back seat, really. They brought in Mark Guehi on a permanent deal, I believe, so that's a good addition because he had a very good season for Palace last year. You know, they really shocked quite a lot of teams last year, Palace, in how well he was set up. Patrick Vieira's come in and he's been unbelievable, bit of a revelation. I don't think anyone expected him to get Palace playing the way he did, but yeah, he came in, got a lot of attacking talent, and I think he's sort of used that to play some really attractive football. And I think they could have a decent little year this year as well. And I'm saying they're probably about 11th place for Palace. And I think, again, that's a good little season. I'll go through all the additions that they have brought in. Like I said, Cheikh Doucouré, good little player that they've brought in. I think they've had to replace Conor Gallagher. And Gallagher, while he wasn't a defensive midfielder, they've got other midfielders in there who can sort of pick up that role. And Cheikh Doucouré is going to come in and sort of stabilise that, be a bit of an N'Golo Kante, sort of shut it down, while he lets everyone else do what they want, like Zaleze and stuff like that. Chris Richards, good little addition from Bayern. I think he brings a bit of depth to the squad. But yeah, I think Vieira will be pretty happy with what he's brought in, and you know, he's not lost a great deal apart from Conor Gallagher, really, which is a big loss, but as I said, they got a lot of good youngsters coming through, so pretty exciting to see at Palace, and yeah, I'm sure they'll be exciting for years to come. But yeah, I've got them in 11th this year. 10th spot, next up, we're going to go with Aston Villa. Is that 10th? 29, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Yep, 10th Aston Villa. Gerrard, first proper season in charge. I think it's going to do him the world of good having a pre-season with Villa. Last year was a bit of a disrupted one for them. Dean Smith obviously came and went down with Norwich in the end. But yeah, he's brought in a couple of players this year, Gerrard. Go through them now when it comes up. Boubacar Kamara, massive signing for me. A lot of clubs were sniffing around him, the likes of Man United and quite a few others in Europe were looking at him. So I think they've done well to bring him in on a free transfer. Really good bit of business for Villa. Obviously they brought in Diego Carlos, centre half, and they've stripped Mings of captaincy. So what they're going to do there is anyone's guess. Are they going to go with Konsa and Carlos? Or are they going to go with Mings, Carlos? Are they going to go with back three? I don't really know. I'm not too sure how he plays. Looking at last year, they finished with a back four, so you guess they'd go with back four again, unless maybe they played Konsa right back, but I'm not sure. I don't see that really. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they line up from the get-go. They've obviously got two good full-backs in Digne and Cash, so who's going to come out of this back three? I don't know. But yeah, they brought in Coutinho, permanent deal. They'll be really pleased with that. He was brilliant last year when he came in. Augustinson, bit of depth there at left back for them. Yeah, they've brought some smart signings in. Lost Matt Target, but he's gone to Newcastle and he'll be pretty happy to go there. He's playing a lot of regular game time for them. Good little signing for them. But yeah, for me, steady season. I think it's a bit of progress on what they did last year. So I've got them finishing about 10th. Next up, I'm going 9th spot, and this 9th spot I'm going to go with Leicester City. For me, they've been a bit of an enigma, Leicester. They're struggling to sort of build on, when they won the league all them years ago. I know it's a far cry from that side and things like that, but yeah, they're not really built, have they? They've sort of stagnated in these Conference League spots and can't really build. They're sort of stumbling every time they sort of get any sort of sniff of Europe. They always seem to fail off and falter. But who they brought in this year? Where are we? You know what? I thought that. Have they actually brought anyone in? No, Leicester don't really look like they've brought anyone in. Which interesting, really, because in the result they've sort of fell off in a couple of years. But this man, if he goes, where is he? Tillemans, I think that'll be a big loss. So as of now, I'm saying they'll finish 9th. But if this man goes, and there's another man linked to go, Wesley Fofana, there he is on the right, I think if they lose these two, they could fall, slip down that table if they don't make some sort of replacements for them. And then you're probably looking at swapping these for these or somewhere like that. But yeah, for me, Leicester, I think they've got a good enough side to get in that top 10. But if they do lose Tielemans and Fofana, and if any more go, then I think they might struggle. But yeah, I go for 9th. Rodgers plays a decent little style of football, so we'll see how they get on. I'll say 9th for Leicester. 8th spot now, and I'm going with Moneybag Newcastle this year for 8th. They've come in and they've made some decent little signings. I don't think they've set the world on fire. I think when we knew about the owners coming in, everyone thought they were going to do a madness and bring in Mbappe and whoever else. But for me, it was never going to be the case, really. They've got to be careful. I don't want to bring my club money in too much, but when City first took over, everyone thinks they went mad straight off the bat. They really didn't. They made signings like this. Sven Botman, 33 million. City signed Mourinho in the first year. They didn't go crazy. You sort of got to build it and build it and build it. It takes a couple of years. You can't do it overnight. Not with FFP and things like that coming into play. But yeah, they've made some clever little signings. Target, he'll make that left back spot his own. He was on loan there last year, and he'll nail that down. Sven Botman, he'll come in here next to Dan Burn, all the cells. Probably be Dan Burn, he's pretty impressive last year. So I think Burn and Botman, they've got that back four nailed down. If they all stay fit, decent back four that. Nick Pope, he'll come in and give Dubravka a challenge. I'd expect Nick Pope to win that. And yeah, you've got a solid back five there. Target, Burn, Botman, Trippier and Pope. Decent little back five. I think I'm liking what I'm seeing. Joelinton playing in this centre midfield spot. They're pretty impressive, and they have been linked with James Maddison quite recently as well, and Jack Harrison. So they are still in the market, Newcastle, and if they bring a couple of more in, who knows? But who knows where they'll finish? But for me, been a good start. Eddie Howe, decent manager. He stabilised that club last year and only brought in. They did spend quite a bit of money to stay up. I do totally accept that. But they've got a squad there capable of pushing on, really getting up that table. For me, I think I'm going to go with 8th. I think they finished 10th in the end last year, but from where they were, it's a massive improvement. And for me, the additions they've brought in, very solid players. For me, I'm going 8th spot for Newcastle this year. Next up, 7th spot, I'm going with West Ham. I think it's about their level, to be honest. unless they start making some monstrous signings, they're going to struggle to get in that 6, unfortunately. It's pretty nailed on, that 6 for me, that top 6. We'll have a look at what they have brought in this year. They've made some alright signings, don't get me wrong. The likes of Areola coming in on a permanent. Scamacca, he'll bring them goals. I think they have needed a striker for quite a while. Antonio does get you a couple of goals, but he's not sort of consistent bang, 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 goal, goal, goal. So yeah, for me, good signing at Scamacca. He's pretty impressive, strong in the air. He'd be a good little addition for West Ham. They've lost Martin Noble. I think he's retiring. Bit of a shame. Fredericks went to Bournemouth. Yarmolenko's moved on as well. So they have lost a few, but yeah, they've got some strength in depth. You know, Jarrod Bowen, really impressive player for me. Ben Rama, good player. But yeah, they've got a strong side, West Ham, and for me, they're just not quite there to get into that 6, unfortunately. I think a couple more years, they might sort of be in that 6th, 5th, battling there, but I think they're quite a bit of a way away yet. They've done well. They've done what I will say for West Ham. They've done so well to keep hold of Declan Rice. That guy's just impressing year on year for me, and how they're keeping hold of him and no one's gone, here you go, have 90 million for him. They've done really well there. I think if they were to sell him, you would get a massive fee, don't get me wrong. But yeah, Declan Rice there, giving him the captaincy, massive key to that West Ham side. For me, 6th place this year for West Ham. Sorry, 7th. I'm going to get some absolute pelters for this, because a lot of people will disagree with me and they'll say I'm biased, they'll say all sorts of crap. But I'll go with Man United, 6th spot for me. And I'll be honest, I just don't think they've improved in the right areas. I really don't. I'll get you the team up. We'll have a look at the additions, but I think we all know who they've brought in and who they've got rid of and who they've done. Obviously a huge club, don't get me wrong, but for me, that is a poor summer. I'm sorry, it really is a poor summer. They've lost some quality from my eyes. Look at the midfielders they've lost. It's so imbalanced, it's crazy. They've lost Pogba, Lingard. Don't get me wrong, Lingard's not a regular. I understand that. Pereira, not a regular, I get that. Matic. Pogba, Matic. Get rid of them, fair enough. Where's the replacement? Where is the replacement? You signed Eriksen. Fantastic, yeah. But he doesn't get in over Bruno. So I don't understand like the signings they've made. They make no sense. They make no sense at all. And if you have a look through here what they've brought in, Martinez, good signing, don't get me wrong. But if you're bringing him in, get rid of Bayer, get rid of Jones, get rid of all the other centre halves you've got, because this guy's going to get in over them obviously, but it's like the stockpiling players that are no good. Unless they lose them on a free, they just stockpile. It makes no sense. Don't get me wrong, I know it's hard to get rid of players on big wages, which they're going to be on at Manchester United. I totally appreciate that. But you've got to get rid of them, get them out the door. If we look what they've lost, Mata's gone. That's another midfielder who's gone. Mata. So they've lost Pereira, Pogba, Lingard, Matic, Mata. All midfielders. And they've replaced them with one. Christian Eriksen. Where's the balance in that? Where is the balance? For me, what they've not brought in, what they've needed for several years now, is that midfielder who's going to grab this game by the scruff of its neck, hold on and protect that back four. And especially in these big games, when you're playing the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Spurs, you need that midfielder who's just going to sit there and protect that four. And they've not got it. They really have not got it. Matic is the closest thing that they had, and he's not there anymore. And they're expecting Fred or McTominay to do it. They're not that kind of player. So for me, I can't see any progress this year. Don't get me wrong, they've brought in, that's cover for sure. That's cover for Bruno if he gets injured. Martinez, obviously that's cover for the back line. Whether or not he gets in over Maguire is another debate completely. But for me, they've not strengthened in the right areas, and the fact they've got Ronaldo wanting away as well, that's just added on to it for me. And for me, they're not ready. They're a good month or two away from being ready, and I can't put them any higher than 6. I really can't. Next up in 5th spot, I'm going to go with Arsenal, I think they're just going to miss out on the 4. Don't get me wrong, I think they've had an absolutely brilliant summer, and we'll have a look at what they brought in, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Don't forget, by the way, they are linked with Yuri Tillemans, and they have been all summer, so if they bring him in, it's just going to be a 10 out of 10 summer for me, for Arsenal, because they brought in some amazing players. Jesus, quality. Fabio Vieira, quality. Zinchenko, quality. Marquinhos, could be quality if you give him a few years. Just solid signings from Arsenal. They brought in what they've needed. They needed a left back. That Tavares was no good, if we're honest. So they brought in Zinchenko. He'll flit in there straight away. Could even cover you in the midfield if needs be. They brought in Fabio Vieira, good option. Odegaard, now captain. He'll fit in there alongside him. I think they wanted a bit more out of Xhaka, but I don't think you're going to get it. So Fabio Vieira, he'll slot in there, or even provide you with that needed backup. Jesus, what can I say about Gabriel Jesus? I'm so upset Man City have lost this guy. He can play anywhere along that front three, absolutely anywhere, and do a job for you. For me, he's better out wide than he is up front, but I think he'll operate as a striker for Arsenal, and I think he's going to score them quite a lot of goals. So yeah, decent little bits of business from Arsenal. You can't complain for me if you're an Arsenal fan. You're going to build, and you could even sneak into that top 4, but for me, 5th this year. I think they'll build on that next year. So that leaves Chelsea, City, Liverpool and Tottenham. So as you can see, I think Tottenham are going to get in the 4. Where do you think I'm going to put them out of the 4? Well, to everyone's shock, I'm actually going to put Chelsea in 4th. Maybe a bit of a controversial one, but I just feel like they've had a bit of an unstable time at the moment, Chelsea, and obviously they've had all that going on with Roman, with what's gone on, and the takeover and all that have you. But I don't think they're quite ready yet either. Don't get me wrong, they have strengthened. They've brought in Conor Gallagher back. Good bit of business not to let him go if you're going to play him. Fair play. But Raheem Sterling, good signing, very good signing. Koulibaly, they did need it. They've lost Christensen, they've lost Christensen and Rudiger, so they did need a centre half. They're linked with about 500 others, but yeah, they are linked with a centre half. They brought one in Koulibaly. They probably need another one. Look at it there, because you've got Silva who's still there, Azpilicueta who's linked to be going, as is Alonso, by the way. But yeah, I don't think they're quite ready yet for the season to start, which is a bit crazy because, you know, every team gets the same amount of time, and I don't think they're ready. They obviously got rid of Lukaku, which was massive, by the way. You'll just put that out there. And if you look, Timo Werner's linked with a move away, and it's sort of relying on Kai Havertz to be that guy up front. For me, I don't think he's that guy. I don't think they've got a recognised out-and-out striker. They've got Brozier, but this guy, is he ready? He obviously played really well for Southampton last year, but is he ready? Is he that guy? We'll see. But they're probably going to have to lean on him because there's no striker in there, and they evidently don't trust Timo Werner, so bit of a weird one, Chelsea. They don't seem quite ready for the season, which baffles me really, because, you know, they've had this big takeover, an owner who's promising the world and is going to spout all this money out, but they seem to keep losing out on the targets. You know, Koundé didn't get, Rafinha they didn't get. It's a bit of a strange one. It's sort of like they can't get the deals over the line. It's sort of like they're trusting their owner to do everything, which they kind of are, which is crazy in my eyes. But yeah, I just think that they'll get in the 4 because they've got the quality. Look, they've got quality all over the field. Mount, Havertz, Sterling, and Kante's there. He's going to protect you for Kovacic. They have got the quality, don't get me wrong. They are going to get in the top 4, but I just can't see them pushing on from that, and I think they'll be sort of sat there in that 4. Third place, I think out of the 3 there, you can guess who we're putting in third. It's not a no-brainer really. I'm going with Tottenham for third, and I think if you were a Spurs fan and I offered you third spot, you'd absolutely bite my hand off. Another year in that top four. For me, they've got one of the best managers in the league. It really does. I really do rate him as a manager, Conte. He can. I know it can be probably deceived as a bit boring, style of play, the back five and stuff like that. But what I will say is that guy got Victor Moses looking like Cafu. So if he can do that with Victor Moses, what's he going to do with half of this lot? Because they have got a strong squad now. They've brought in some decent little players this year. Richarlison, we've said 52 million, a lot of money, but he obviously trusts him, thinks something of him to bring him in for that. Yves Bissouma, quality little addition for me. Strengthens that midfield no end. Højbjerg's in there. Bissouma's probably going to sit there right next to him where Bentancur is. If they are going to go with a system like this, and you're looking at a front three of Kane, Son, Richarlison, that is strong. That is really strong. They've brought in the likes of Perisic, who's probably going to operate on this left hand side. Jed Spence probably operate on the right hand side. Kulusevski, he might start over Spence early on. We'll see. But yeah, Kulusevski had a really good year when they brought him in. They sold a couple. Steve Bergwijn. Thought he was a good little squad player, but yeah, obviously wants to start a bit more football game. So yeah, they've sold him. Got a good little fee for him there for me. 28 million. Good that. And yeah, for me, they've strengthened in really good areas, Spurs, and I think they're going to have a really good year. Conte knows what he's wanted in this summer. It's a proper first summer for him. He's got his squad together, and usually when he does that, he gets results, and I can see them having a really good year, and I've got them finishing third above Arsenal and United. Now then, it's time for the big two. We've got Man City, and of course we've got Liverpool. These two, God, they're exhausting. They push each other year on year. Being a City fan, it's, you know, we can't even draw a game these days and without feeling like the league's over and the world's going to end. It's that, it really is that competitive between these two, and I think it's going to be like that for years to come. While these two managers are in charge, we're looking at a top two of being just out of this world, really. They're probably the best two teams in world football. Liverpool obviously got the better of City in the Community Shield the other day. Bit of a weird one. I don't think City were quite ready, if I'm being perfectly honest. But yeah, they won Liverpool. But for me, City probably stumbled a bit. I think Pep likes to give them a bit of a rest, and they've done that this year. So let's see, who do I think will finish second? Well, I can't sit here as a Man City fan and say my team are not going to win the league, because I won't be a Man City fan, would I really? So we are going to put Liverpool in second. Don't get me wrong, I was debating Spurs getting in second, but I didn't go for it in the end, because Conte, for me, he's going to fall that little bit short. Liverpool are quality across the pitch. We'll go into what they've brought in. I think we all know who they've got rid of, because that was a massive talking point. Obviously, Sadio Mane has now left the club, which was really big in my eyes. I'm going to miss him, I think. Massive player. He did bring a lot to that Liverpool side. Probably a bit of a club legend, to be honest. They only sold him for that as well, which is a bit debatable in my eyes. But yeah, we can see here they've got quality across the pitch still. You know, Luis Diaz, when they brought him in, everyone was shocked really in my eyes how well he's settled. Jota, class player. Salah, Nunes will turn it on this year. I don't know, everyone's giving him a bit of stick before the Community Shield, saying, oh, he's the next Andy Carroll and all this. No, he's going to be a class player. Klopp, especially with Klopp managing him, you know, he gets the best out of these players, and why wouldn't he get the best out of however much it was, 68 million signing? You know, he's going to get the best out of him, don't be silly. But yeah, Klopp gets the best out of everyone really. If you look at these two sides on paper, City have probably got a miles better side, but you know, they're thereabouts every year, so that just shows you what kind of manager Klopp is in my eyes. They brought in Carvalho, and I am really impressed with this signing. £5 million, I think it's a steal. This guy, I watched him play against City in the FA Cup last year, and oh my god, I have not seen a Championship player rock up against Man City or any Premier League side and just catch the eye. I just couldn't stop watching him every time he got the ball. So impressive. But yeah, I think that's a brilliant signing. £5 million for him, for me, what a bargain. And yeah, I think they're in for a good year, Liverpool. They'll push City close again, don't get me wrong, but for me they'll just fall short. Right then, finally, who I think is going to win the league this year. Of course I've got to go with my boys. I can't not go with City. I know you're all going to slate me and say I'm biased and all this, and oh, you're a blue, of course you're going to go with them. But you got to, haven't you? If you just look at what they did last year, they scored like 140 odd goals or something, and that was without a striker. How can you get that many goals without a striker? And you know, you're all going to say Jesus is a striker, but what I said to you before, he plays much better out wide. And even when he did play Zeus, he didn't play through the middle, he played out wide. We played with a false 9 for the majority of the season. We never really had a recognised striker. We've not since Aguero really. And yeah, they brought in this man, and I know he missed a sitter and a Community Shield and all that, but the guy's a freak. Look at him. He's just oh wow. He's going to score so many goals in that Man City team. I don't care who you are, you're not stopping him. This year for me, he's going to get loads and loads of goals. Do I think he'll get the Golden Boot? We'll see. But yeah, for me, they're going to be really strong against City. They have lost quite a few players, don't get me wrong. Fernandinho retired, Sterling's gone, Jesus, Zinchenko. But I think they'll be alright. They're probably going to bring in a left back as well. It doesn't look like it's going to be Cucurella, but yeah, they're strong as always. And looking at the strength in depth, they brought in Phillips to cover Rodri when he needs to give him a rest. It's just really is a strong squad, and it's just getting stronger. You know, they're bringing someone where they think they need to. And yeah, for me, that addition of Haaland, I think you're gonna look at City getting 100 goals plus in the Prem again. And yeah, it's going to be hard to stop when the team's going to score that many goals, and for me, we'll win it. I don't actually think it's going to be that close. I'm probably going to say by about 7 points in the end. And yeah, I'm going to go with my boys, Man City, to win the league. Right then guys, as we can see, that's the table in the end. We've gone Bournemouth in 20th, Fulham in 19th, Southampton in 18th. That's 3 to get relegated this year. Forest just to survive, Leeds in 16th, Brentford 15th, Brighton 14th, Everton in 13th. Then we've gone for Wolves in 12th, Palace in 11th, Villa 10th, Leicester 9th, Newcastle in 8th. We went for West Ham in 7th, we went for Man United in 6th, we went for Arsenal in 5th, we went for Chelsea finishing 4th, we went for Spurs finishing 3rd, and we went for Liverpool in 2nd, and we went for Manchester City to win the league. Right then, who do we think I will win who do I think will win the Golden Boot this year out of all these players that have been brought in? I think your front contenders, you're looking at obviously the big two that's come in at either side. Haaland is going to get a bag full of goals. Nunez going to get a bag full of goals. Ronaldo's obviously there at United. Could he do a bit of madness, get quite a few goals? Jesus at Arsenal, you never know. Scamacca, bit of an outside chance. But for me, because I've got them finishing so high up, I'm going to go with one of the boys at Spurs. Bit of a shock one, really. But I'm going to go with Heung-min Son. I think if Spurs operate a front two this year, as this formation sort of suggests that they're moulding into, I think Son is in for a massive year at Spurs. Kane, gets an underrated amount of assists, Harry Kane. I think got like most assists, it was either last year or the year before, but he pops up with a lot of assists, and I think Son's going to be on the end of them, on the flick-ons and stuff like that. For me, I'm going to go Son, Golden Boot, because I think he'll be instrumental in them finishing 3rd. So yeah, for me, Son for Golden Boot this year. Next up, we've got Player of the Year. For me, you're always looking at one of the top two teams. If someone gets player of the year, unless you get someone doing absolute madness, 10 goals, 10 assists year in one of the smaller clubs, you're probably looking at one of the bigger clubs getting in someone in the player of the year. So I'm going to go with one of the City boys, I think, and we're going to go with, just because I think he's going to get so many assists, I'm going to go with Kevin De Bruyne again. I know it's a bit of a boring one, but I think he's going to get quite a lot of assists this year. Obviously teeing up Haaland and Alvarez, two massive signings for City. And yeah, for me, De Bruyne, he's going to get loads of assists this year. And yeah, for me, player of the year, Kevin De Bruyne. There we go. That leads me on to this next one beautifully. Who will get the most amount of assists? Gonna go with De Bruyne. I think that attacking talent City have brought in is exactly what he needed. When he puts them balls in, the crosses, last year they weren't getting tapped away by the strikers. This year I think they're going to. And yeah, for me, I wouldn't be shocked if he got the record. And I think Henry holds the record. I couldn't say how many, but yeah, for me, De Bruyne is going to get there or thereabouts. And I think he'll get the most amount of assists this year, Kevin De Bruyne.